Hello folks, it's me, RH131, and we're back again playing not World of Tanks Blitz. This is World of Warships on the iOS and Android as of Wednesday, January 18th. And what we have here is some of the Karlsruhe Tier 4 German cruiser. This is the highest I've been able to work up in the couple of days that I've had. I also am starting down the American line as well for battleships. Now, I have about 4 full days of experience playing this game, as well as, if you remember earlier, I did some streaming when this was first released on the Philippines App Store. I had some gameplay of that, but it was just live streams, and really wasn't that in-depth because it came and went on the Philippines App Store. It's been on the Canadian, I think, something or other, App Store for a while. I haven't been playing on it, though, because I couldn't be bothered to switch into different Apple accounts to download the game and continue updating it. But it's here now. And, as you can see, it is fairly optimized. The graphics are pretty good for a mobile game. I'd say they've started out just about where World of Tanks Blitz started out in 2014, back when I played it then. Probably a little bit better. They've even got you can see over there on the South Carolina, and also on my ship as well, they've got the waving flags, which is a really nice touch. They've got some camouflages already in place. It's started out in a good spot. You can see in the top right, they've already implemented the PC damage trackers with the main battery hits, fires, critical hits, and whatnot, which is nice. This is kind of like a standard battle, I would say. I'm not quite sure what the different types of battles are in this. I've seen this type. There's also a domination type mode, which would be like supremacy. That person just stole my kill on that carrier there. I was not happy about that. Luckily, this ship has torpedo tubes on both sides of the vessel, so I fired the ones off on the left side of the ship. Also, I don't know what idiot just fired torpedoes in the back of me, but hey, low-tiered gameplay at any game is gonna suck. Anyways, I do not recall. I think it's left side is port, perhaps? Not quite sure. I should check that. Anyways, we fired on the right-hand side to kill off that South Carolina battleship. This looks to be an AFK, so I'm going to close in and finish him off with my torpedo tubes, which have reloaded on the left-hand side of the ship. This game, fairly good. Not quite top damage, but very good result nonetheless. These torpedo hits, very nice on this ship. If you can get in close range with some of these bigger ships and just use the torpedoes to supplement with your main battery guns, because you'll see early in the video, and also whenever I get to other ships, the main battery guns shooting at battleships and even other ships at this tier is very low damage, but it does add up. And I skipped the ending there. We didn't manage to kill that guy. It took too long to run across the other side of the map to kill him. But second on damage, not bad. This is the port. You've got your little missions tab here. You've got different options. You've got little bonus crates, kind of like World of Tanks, but for these ones you have to earn them by getting XP. You got your reset counter for victories there. You've got your stats on the right-hand side, your XP. There's a couple other tabs here. This is your consumables, which is basically you've got a repair, and you've got a fire extinguisher, which also fixes if your ship's like taking low on water. These are your provisions. These are equipment that is hell of expensive, and I'm probably not going to mount these on anything lower than a tier 7 or 8 ship. You've got stuff for aiming, torpedoes, I'm assuming with carriers that's plane-related equipment, and then boosters. So it's pretty nice. You've got some camouflage here. This is also where you can sell your ship if you need to. Also see some little historical facts on the details tab. You've also got the option to select different ports. You've got 2 that you can get for being free to play. This is a premium harbor port, And then finally you've got this New York port, which is 500 gold. Which I'm a little bit disappointed, because on the PC version of this game, the New York port is a free option, but oh well, I'm not going to complain about it. I have other things to complain about, but we'll get to that later. You can see here, mostly tier 1 ships for me. I've only been playing for 4 days, got through the... And it's basically playing this on top of playing tournaments for Blitz, which I will have some gameplay of that coming after Clan Wars is over. Mainly I want to wait until these strategies calm down a bit. Here you got your tech trees. American and Japanese are the most developed, which you would expect because that's where you start out, but it is impressive that they included the Germans and Russians on the opening. This is the Iowa. This is what I want on the American line. I'm going to go down the battleships to get that, because the Iowa is a damn fine looking ship. You got the Japanese ones here. I'm thinking about going towards the Yamato. I'm a battleship person myself, but I am getting the Hindenburg because I want to try some cruisers. I hate destroyers, so I won't touch them. Carriers I want to try. I'm not sure how much I'll enjoy it. But you can see here the Moscow top of the Russians, and then the French and the British just have premium ships. Show you a little bit of Tier 1 gameplay here. This is the Erie Tier 1 American cruiser. This is so I can get the Chester and start working my way up the American line. What's this? This is the same battle type that we were just in, and the map is called Islands. As you can see, it's going to be a Tier 1 and 2 game, mostly destroyers, or mostly cruisers. You can see some destroyers there. The tiering system in this works differently than World of Tanks. It's basically every class of ship is grouped together, so it's not listed in the World of Tanks fashion of being listed by high tiers at the top, low tiers at the bottom. They're kind of intermixed, but the ship classes are all together. Destroyers are at the bottom, cruisers, I believe, are in the middle, battleships are near the top, and carriers are at the top. So, we're on the Islands map, apparently, and you can see here, basic chat implemented now. There's just some quick commands. You can't actually type anything. And because this is a Tier 1 ship, all the Tier 1 ships start out with just high explosive ammunition. You don't have any other option. There is an upgrading system. As you can see, my ship has a little bit more than it's a weird number for health. And you get that by upgrading modules, which you upgrade through blueprints, which are those things you saw in the last results screen. You can see them underneath the experience. You get blueprints, and that's how you upgrade. You don't actually spend experience on anything other than new ships, which is really nice in terms of grinding up lines, that you can use your free XP and your XP to just grind for the ships, rather than having to grind out different weapons and unlocks on the ships. I preemptively fired that salvo, hoping to get him when he was sailing into my gun range, but all missed. The next volley is going to be more accurate, and they keep getting more accurate the longer you fire. It's not really a mechanic, but once you get the ship fully into your range, which you can see by that solid white circle on the mini-map there, the dotted white circle that is really far out now, it was inside the white circle earlier. That is your detection range on surface vessels. And as you can see, when you fire your guns, that extends out a very large amount, and it's proportional to ship types too. So once you get to battleships, you'll see that dotted white circle basically encompass the entire map when you fire. Obviously, because battleships are massive. Destroyers, not so much. They'll be a smaller circle than you would expect from a cruiser. And you don't have to worry about that with carriers, because carriers don't have guns, they just have planes. And there is also aircraft detection, so if you're in any type of ship and a carrier plane flies over you or near you, it will detect you, and it depends on what class of ship you are. Battleships being the easiest to detect, cruisers being slightly in the middle, carriers I don't know where they fall, but destroyers are the hardest to spot with aircraft. You basically have to fly directly over the destroyer to spot it. Target hit! As you can see there, putting shots in on that AFK ship over there, that is the Tier 1 Russian, I believe. And we're going to come around the island here, to work over this Chester. can also see the enemy cap circle there. It's marked by the red line, and it's got little buoys on it. Now, the key when playing in this game is armor angling is not as important as it is in World of Tanks, I would say. But it's definitely something you need to do, because there are, and I don't think I get it in this game, but I get it in the next game, there are more than just penetrating rounds. As you can see there, some of my HE is doing larger damage than the others. When you're firing high explosive, you want to aim for the top part of the ship, where all like the smokestacks and the deck armor is, because that's where the high explosive does the best, on the weaker armored parts of the ship. The belt armor is where you want to aim when you have high penetration armor piercing. And that's where you can get, they're called citadel hits, and it's basically a citadel, from what I know from PC, is where your ship's important, basically things like your steering control, your main gun, like controls and firing, is all stored in the area of your ship that's at or below the waterline. So it's very important that you keep that angled whenever you're taking fire, especially from battleships. Battleships will absolutely destroy you if they get a flat side of your ship to shoot at. Cruisers at point-blank range and intermediate ranges will also rip through side armor of other cruisers. Now, what's important to note for the early parts of this game is destroyers. On PC, they have a mechanic where if you fire a armor-piercing round at them, it overmatches the destroyer's armor and doesn't do as much damage. There is no such mechanic currently in place in World of Warships Blitz. And yes, that's the name. They put Blitz on the end of it. Why, I don't understand, but I guess that's deemed appropriate. Anyway, that overmatch does not exist in this game as of now, so you can fire armor-piercing rounds from even battleships at destroyers, and you will do full damage. So it's not a good day to be a destroyer. As you can see here, we've got the first strike medal for killing the first target, and a battle star for being #1 on the team, with 23,000 damage overall. Very nice. What I'm doing here is just completing a mission there. Missions are nice in this. There's 2 sets of daily missions. One is for daily login, one is for daily missions. And I'm going to purchase the...
secondary guns.
Not this lady again. Skip.
6.5 hours later.
So apparently you can't skip that. You have to actually do it. Anyway, it was terrible. I can see why people don't know how to play this game. All the tutorials are just crap. Anyways, we're going to try it out here in the Chester Tier 2 American Cruiser. And we're back on the Islands map. From what I've seen, I think there's like 4 or 5 maps of the low tiers. And they get bigger as you go up the tiers, because obviously the range of the ships increases. So you're going to see smaller maps at tiers 1 and 2, slightly larger maps around 3, 4, and 5, and then I'm guessing the largest maps in the game will become available for the tier 10s. This is another one of the standard battles. So, as you can see, the enemy has a large amount of cruisers and 2 destroyers, so I've decided to load armor piercing, because there's only one real target on the enemy team that I can't penetrate with the armor piercing, and that is the battleship. All of the cruisers and the destroyers I can hit with the armor piercing and do substantial damage. Another thing to take note of, as you can hear, there's battle music going on throughout the battle, and I'm pretty sure it picks up on what you're doing, and it changes the pace and the type of the music as you get into more aggressive situations and passive situations. Especially near the end of the game, when one team is about to cap out, the music changes a lot, so interesting feature. A feature that I'm not a fan of, and this is where the complaints will start. If you noticed, at the beginning of this battle, the clock did not start ticking down from 7 minutes like it does in World of Tanks. It started ticking down from 6 minutes. And therein lies a problem, because there are 7 ships on the enemy team. We are now basically 2 minutes and 20 seconds in the battle, and I've just fired my first shot. So that's 2 minutes basically wasted or maybe 1 minute. I can't do time that well. Anyways, that's about at least a full minute and a half wasted of driving that I can't be shooting at things. And I'm still expected to shoot and kill 7 of these ships, and you can see this is a destroyer, so they've got low health. This is the amount of damage I'm doing to that destroyer with my salvos. And while it does add up, it doesn't really add up fast enough. Now the nice thing about this Chester is it has secondary guns, which this is a different mechanic from the PC version. It is actually, you're able to fire your secondary guns just like you would your primary guns, whereas on PC, the secondary guns are automatically enabled, which is nice depending on how you look at it. Yeah, we're going to pick up that kill there. We're going to switch the fire back to this destroyer. So yeah, the secondary guns you control like their primary guns, except they have a much shorter range and they have a faster rate of fire. The AA guns on ships are automatically triggered, however, so you don't have to worry about them, and that guy does not know how to aim torpedoes at all. Taking some decent damage, so I'm going to pop the repair kit. This is another thing that's different than PC. Every ship type gains access to those 2 consumables. So, unlike PC, where battleships are the only type that can recover health, every ship in this game can recover health, and it's a maximum of 3 per battle in terms of recovering health. Obviously, however, because it's a percentage-based gain, battleships are going to have the highest, and there's that Citadel I was remembering. Still not a lot of damage, but it does get you that max damage with your AP rounds, which is nice. As you can see here, this is another thing I'm not a fan of. It just looks really childish with the little fire extinguisher circling the ship. I don't like that at all. I feel like that's completely unnecessary. And I feel like that should be an option that you can disable in terms of how that works. Luckily, however, I don't think you can see it on the enemy or allied ships whenever they pop their damage repairs. So you won't have to worry about seeing flying fire extinguishers above a ship for half of the battle. Which I guess that part's nice. But I still don't like seeing it on my own ship. I feel like it's completely unnecessary. As you can see here, this destroyer, I'm not sure what he's doing. He's run into the world border, it looks like. And he's just firing away with his rear guns, so we're going to keep laying into him. You can see me double tapping the fire button. That is how you fire the full salvo of your guns. If you just tap it once, you will fire 1 gun, and it will start with the guns that are closest to the ship you're aiming at, I believe. It's either that or it starts with the first gun on the bow of your ship, but I think it starts with whichever gun has the clearest line of fire to the target. I will have to experiment with that further. Anyways, as you can see here, important tactic to use, you're firing the primary weapons, and then as soon as you fire them, you switch to your secondaries and start opening up with that. And we're back to the primaries. As you can see, the damage is adding up, and we're able to finish him off. Now, there's only less than a minute left, as I said. It's very fast battles, and I don't like that. I feel like they're too fast. But anyways, you can see that our base is being captured by what I believe to be at least the enemy cruiser. Possibly the enemy battleship is with him as well. So that's going to continue to cap out. And we won't get any support from those 2 cruisers that are up there, because both of them are AFK, because they haven't moved a single inch since they were spawned in. And because there's only 15 seconds left, even though they killed one of the ships, we still have enough of a points lead that we're going to be able to pull this off. And there's really nothing they can do now except for sink that other cruiser. But they're not going to have time because, obviously, they've been sitting up there the whole game. They're still full health. And that's going to be a win. And that's going to be another battle start for me, which means I did the best. And I really like how it announces the awards in chat. So you can keep tabs on who's doing a good job. And there you go, Battle Star, as well as ×2 XP. Iron Fortress Award for killing 3 ships or more. And as you can see, we've implemented the report function, just like in World of Tanks, except I believe there's unlimited amounts, so we're luckily able to report these AFKs on both teams and call it a day, which is a nice feature. As you can see there, 26,000 damage in Tier 2, not bad at all. And I'm going to continue to grind up these lines and progress. As you can see, this is the detailed... You can't see which ships you did it to, you can just see the results. And that's going to be just about all for this episode of World of Warships. I will probably make more of these in conjunction with the World of Tanks, and I might even have time to start streaming again, because I do enjoy streaming. And that's going to end it for this day's episode of World of Warships. I will see you guys next time.